Yippee-Ki-Yay, mother.
Welcome to the party, pal.
Welcome to Yippee-Ki-Yay, Mother Podcast. I'm Ralph Quartucci.
I'm Sean Paul Murphy.
I'm Debbie Murphy.
I'm Michelle Wojciechowski.
I'm John Quattrucci.
I'm Drew Gould.
Well, hello, everybody. Michelle, I noticed that Brad is not here, but he might slip in later, yes?
Yes.
Mojo's going solo.
I am.
Okay. All right. Well, this is a very special holiday episode. John Quattrucci won the Holiday Roulette with A Christmas Carol 1951. Unanimously, I might add. It was a clear winner.
I have renamed John. I've got a nickname for John.
Uh-oh.
Because of his facial expressions.
Wait, do we need a drum roll?
Yeah. John Belushi Quattrucci.
Oh.
Because he does the eyebrow.
I take that as an honor.
I think John Belushi would be proud of that one, too. So
I learned that eyebrow because of John Belushi.
yes.
You wear it well.
Now, before we let John Quattrucci pontificate about the film that he won, let's talk about what we did this week or what we saw this week. Let's start with Sean and Debbie.
Well, Debbie had thought she had seen Love Actually.
But
Turns
actually,
out she hadn't.
Oh,
So we watched it actually. And then we watched the Zodiac, which
that's a nice. I can see that mix. That's a good one.
That's got some Christmas feel
What
to
a
it.
segue.
Wait, did you
Great.
like Love Actually?
yes, I loved actually.
Oh, good.
I loved it.
And
It did have its depressing moments for a Christmas movie. The guy's cheating on his wife, Alan Rickman. But what do you expect from Hans from Die Hard?
Yeah, but he was barely cheating. It was barely cheating. I mean, barely.
Yeah.
Debbie's like, no man would, because he thought that the secretary was so slutty. She's like, that would never work on any man. And I'm like,
Yeah, I don't. I
Oh,
don't get
that's
that
right,
either.
Debbie. Okay.
And Sean was like,
His wife was going
he said, on the couch the rest of the week.
No, I really think that if you're, a married couple, you get to know each other, you have a history, you have a family, you love each other, and the secretary was just not attractive. His wife was so much more. I mean, she was doing the laundry and dishes, and
she
I
was
think
higher built.
Oh, nothing sexier than that.
Yeah, I think that's the problem. But
Yeah.
I mean, are we going to analyze it based on that? Love Actually, not the.
no, there was
There were some other good things.
It was.
But
so
you
good.
enjoyed it. All right, Drew, what do you got?
Well, I watched a lot of stuff this week.
What?
I'm only going
I'm
to talk.
shocked.
I'm only going to talk about two of them, and they're actually really about the same thing. I watched two documentaries. One is an HBO Max series called Heaven's Gate: The Cult of Cults.
I want to see
That's
that.
4 episodes, I believe. I only watched the first one. And then I also watched an HBO documentary called Alabama Snake about a court case in 1991 where a Pentecostal man was convicted of murdering his wife by getting snakes that they used for their religious ceremonies to bite her.
I'll see that.
And everything that's wrong with contemporary true crime documentaries and series was in both of these, because
They're not good.
too many of these shows have too many episodes. So Heaven's Gate, I could already tell there's too much space here. And that was very frustrating because I'm interested in it. And of course I know the end of the story. Those are the people that killed themselves with their sneakers on so they could hop on the back of a comet and go live in space. And the other problem was Alabama Snake didn't have enough story for its hour and 24 minutes. So people are making decisions where it's like, this is a compelling story. It should be a 20-minute short. And you can get Oscars for that. There's nothing wrong with that. Or this is a compelling story. Let's not make it 4 hours. But having said that, I thought The Vow was way too long about Nexium on HBO.
Agreed.
But Seduced, the Stars one was 4 episodes, and it was riveting. So I think it's a question of finding the right format to tell the story, and neither of those found it, even though the stories are interesting.
Oh, very good.
Drew, didn't you watch A Christmas Movie? I thought
I
you
did, but
talked
I'm going to talk
that
about that. I'm going to talk about that later.
Oh,
context.
Part of our main
I don't want to
story
bury
that
the
we-
lead. As
All right,
Ralph
so
said.
John
Yes, I
Cortucci,
did.
let's look at your sweater that you so proudly put
Well,
on
my
today.
lights. Yeah, so I got my ugly sweater. We were supposed to all wear ugly sweaters.
I mean,
but,
ugly is the wrong word, but
But the producer in the Red Productions decided to wear a T-shirt for some reason. But whatever.
It simulates a
That's fine.
sweater.
So I've got some garland. I got some ornaments, some lights, and there's also a fireplace. I don't see. It's my stomach. My stomach's on fire.
Yeah, that's awesome.
that.
That's
Nothing
something
in the
else.
That's
back. Nothing in the back.
Nothing in the back.
No, just the brick wall.
And there's my Christmas tree. I moved rooms to get in the Christmas spirit.
Nice.
So there's my beautiful. So
And my T-shirt has two reindeer enjoying a tasty beverage. So
it says
I
my
don't know.
microphone-
I don't know if anybody else, Debbie and Sean, are sharing one. I don't know how that works,
I
but
got my reindeer.
nice.
No.
Yeah, I want to say that this is my sweater that
I
she
stole it.
claimed like
Okay.
last year, and she wouldn't even let me have it for this episode.
Well,
So I'm
there
just
you go.
wearing a grayish sweater.
Oh,
And Wojo
you
has
don't
a
really
very
consider that
attractive.
an ugly sweater, right?
I have a big ass tree.
Oh, look at
That
that!
is a big ass.
Oh,
I like that.
And Drew, I love the gray sweatshirt. Great T-shirt. It's fantastic.
Thank you very much. I was going to wear my weightlifting singlet for my competition days, but I decided I'll save that for more of a
That's
summer.
for another one.
Or
All right,
for a
so-
sports roulette.
Excellent. So, John, before you get started, subscribe. What's the next speech before?
Well, it's the holiday season. In the spirit of giving, you should give us a break and subscribe, share, and hit the notification button.
Please.
We would love that. We would
God
love
bless
more
us,
people
everyone.
watching. God bless us, everyone.
Oh,
It's
and I
the
tell
best
you,
podcast in all of London.
if you enjoy listening to this podcast on audio only, imagine how your excitement will increase dramatically if you go to YouTube and watch it.
Yeah, because some of us are very visual. I got to be
Yeah.
honest.
It's amazing. All right. So, John, what'd you watch this week? Anything?
Well, I watched two things. I watched Fat Man,
Yes. And
which I loved. I loved it. It was a strange movie. And Walter Goggins, no, I'm kidding. It's Walton.
Walton, come on.
Walton Goggins was awesome. And I really liked Mel Gibson in it too. It was just a strange, weird movie. And I really liked it. I also watched, it's called The Christmas Chronicles. It was with Kurt Russell as Santa Claus.
Oh.
Well, they did the sequel. The sequel
We're
is
watching
not
this.
nearly as good as the first one. I think Kurt Russell is great. I do want to talk about Goldie Hawn a little bit. She was in the sequel, and she was in the first movie at the very end, but in this one, she was in it a lot. And I love Goldie Hawn. She's had a little too much work done on her face
Oh.
because it looked like a petrified thing. She could barely move it. It was kind of sad to watch, actually.
Is it just a holdover from Death Becomes Her? Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, worse. It's
Wow.
worse. I mean, her
Oh, wow.
face. It was.
That's
And
so
I love
sad.
Kurt Russell. Kurt
Yeah.
Russell's really good in it. But if you get a
Yeah.
chance to look at those movies, they're good. Fat Man, I recommend. It's strange. And
Yeah.
you wouldn't think it'd be a movie I would like,
No, I
but
wouldn't.
I
think-
really enjoyed it.
By the
Good.
way, I had an in with Goldie Hawn,
Oh,
but
wait.
after this, I don't think we're going to have her on the show.
Well, yeah,
not
yeah.
now.
Wait, well, then you should watch the movie and then get back to me.
I think she'd love to
No,
come
we
on
are
now.
actually watching that with our granddaughter. She had
Yeah.
already Christmas
Did you see the first one?
No,
Yeah.
they.
Yeah,
The first one was really good. I really liked the first
Yeah, I
one.
like the first and the second one.
Yeah,
But
the
I
second one
love-
was. I thought it was okay.
I
It wasn't
love
as good as the first one.
And you got to get away from the stuff, but she's still beautiful.
She's beautiful inside as well, I'm sure.
She's the
Yeah.
first Mrs. Claus that I really kind of wanted to
Yeah.
meet.
No, I wanted the animated one in Santa
I
Claus
was
is
wondering where
Coming
you're
to
going.
Town.
There. All right. Enough. Wojo,
All right.
what'd you watch this week?
Oh, we finished up Superstore. We
wow.
got up to where it is. It's really good. We watched the best documentary that I've seen in a long, long time. It's on HBO Max, and it's called The Bee Gees. How Can You
Oh.
Mend a Broken Heart? It's 2 hours long. It is completely worth it. There's so much I learned that I didn't know. And I've seen a bunch of different, Bee Gees did behind the music and different, documentary style things like this. This was just like, and you it's just fascinating. I don't want to spoil any of it. I don't want to talk too much about it because there are so many surprises as to how they came from one kind of sound to another kind of sound, and how the band broke up, which I didn't realize they had broken up. It's phenomenal. It's definitely worth your time.
I can't wait to see
I'm
that.
starting to watch Ugly Betty, which I didn't see the first time around, and it's good. And I hate everyone else in the cast except for
America Ferrara.
America Ferrara.
Oh, we talked about our last podcast too.
Yep.
I know it's like this America Ferrara thing. I don't know.
All right. Well,
Sarah Paulson this week though. No one was watching any.
No Sarah Paulson.
Yeah.
No, it's
Ralph?
funny though.
Yeah.
I watched that film. I'm Your Woman. I'm Your Woman. I don't even know who the actress is. I guess she was in Miss Maisel, that show about the comedian.
Great show.
She had such a Sarah Paulson vibe. I couldn't get over it. I mean, she sounded like her. She looks like her. It's a weird. Anyway, so my COVID brain forced me to go down the A Christmas Carol tunnel. So I started obsessing on all the Christmas carols out there. And I ended up watching the FX version of A Christmas Carol with Guy Pearce. And I loved it.
Of course you did. Why? I'm not
Because
shocked by that.
It was
Was it made in 1971?
No.
No, I think 2019, it's a series on FX, and it's one of the things they do where they take classic films or classic stuff,
Yeah,
stories.
it's like if David Cronenberg directed this.
It's definitely
that's what
dark. It goes in places that none of the other ones went. I like the effects work in it. I like the acting. I just thought it was a nice cleanser from this one, because I watched this one too, and I have to say that I loved the Guy Pearce one, not so much this one. But I wish we had more time to talk about the 1951 version, but we just used up all our time talking about this stuff. So till next. Oh, John, do you want to talk about?
I won
Really?
unanimously.
Do we really need to talk about this film?
Oh, well, why don't you show the trailer first? I know we saw it last week, but let's show it again for the few people who might not have seen it.
God blesses everyone.
These glowing words spoken by Tiny Tim have warmed the hearts of millions the world over. Now hear Tiny Tim and all the other wonderful people in this unforgettable story speaking their immortal lines as the most joyous of all Dickens classics reaches new heights of greatness on the screen.
So a Merry Christmas to you anyway, Uncle.
Good evening.
And a Happy New Year.
Good evening. Humbug! It's all humbug, I tell you. Oh, see.
Well, we know this is a unanimous win for you. That had to mean a lot, I'm sure.
It did.
Okay, now tell us why this film is so important to you.
Like you have already said, there are so many versions of this movie, and you know, I've seen almost all of them, and I like almost all of them. But this one for me is the best one in my eyes because of Alastair Sim, of his performance. It's not so cut and dry. You know, the thing that always bothered me about this movie is he's so mean and so one-dimensionally mean in the beginning. And then by the end, he's gone completely the other way. That's not how Alastair Sim played it. The way he played it, he almost showed a vulnerability that other Scrooges haven't shown. He wasn't just a really bad guy. And then this was also the first Christmas Carol that delved into why he was the way he was with his sister Fan, his relationship with his father. So you kind of understood a little bit about why he was the way he was. And I also think he played it in a way that he kind of realized, you know, when that scene where he's in his room by himself eating that bowl of soup, one candle, one chair, all alone on Christmas Eve. It's kind of sad. And he kind of played it that way too. But even some of the line readings that he does, like there's one particular line that always struck me when I thought about the acting part of it, right? And it's every Scrooge says, I suppose you'll want the next day off after Christmas, like that, right? That's not how he played it. He says, I suppose you'll want the next day off, like that. Like he wasn't trying to get at him. He was resigned to the fact that he's frustrated that he wants the day off, but not angry at him. That's just a little thing. That's why for me, the change at the end, it's not like a million years apart, right? It's not like he took this giant leap. It's almost like the night restored him back to how he originally was. Before Fan, before the father. And the performances are great. It's directed by Brian Desmond Hurst. It's produced by George Minter. It's a British production. It's beautiful, but it's not the 38 version where you've got cleaned up London, right? Which was a set on the MGM studio. This looked more real, a little dingier, a little darker. It was probably more like what it was really like. But the performances, Ernest Theiger, did you guys see him? The Undertaker from Bride of Frankenstein. I don't know if you guys caught that.
Oh, yeah.
Also, Mrs. Dilber, who was Kathleen Harrigan, I think it is. She was great. That scene at the end worked so much better because she was a part of it. Like, you know, she thought he was crazy. And when he handed her the coin and he goes, what's this for? To shut me up? Right? No, it's a Christmas gift. And the way she looked at him, like no one ever did something nice for her. Look, this Christmas for me.
John, are your balls dangling right now?
I'm sorry. They are. I'm trying to keep them above the table.
I'm hearing them on the table.
This has been a real bummer for me because for the first time in my life, because of COVID, we're not going to spend Christmas as a family, either Rose's family or my family. Everyone's going to be by themselves. And that's never happened in my life. So I was feeling pretty down about this. And Ralph and I talked about this also. And then I watched this movie, and the end of this movie just lights a fire in me for Christmas. The way it's played, the last couple of scenes where he goes to the nephew's house, and the way he played that before he went in the room. The next day, unlike the 38 version where he actually goes into the office and Cratchit doesn't know it's him, and he plays that whole scene. And then at the very end, when he's waving, it's just a feel good, and it makes me feel better about Christmas because as bad as everything is, you can still make the most of it. So again, out of all the versions out there, this is my favorite. Like Ralph just talked about the Guy Pearce version. I get why he likes it, okay? And Ralph and I are on opposite ends of the spectrum as far as our taste goes. This movie, you could sit there with your whole family and watch it. The one Ralph's talking about, you could not do that because they swear in it with F-bombs. It's pretty, I mean, it's very dark, as in it's filmed very dark, but it's also a really dark movie. It's not a film that everyone in the family could watch. And this is, and again, it's because of Alastair Sim. I think he's amazing in it. He plays and Ralph will say it's overacting, but I think the supporting cast overacted. I don't think he did. And I think that's what makes this movie so good and why I love it so much. I just think he's incredible in it, and I can watch this over and over again. So that's why I love this movie.
Well, I'll jump in quick. I don't want to say too much because I think other people have more interesting things to say. I did drop lid a little bit while I was watching it, so I didn't even know he had his father in there. That's the first time I heard that. You talk about the sets being dingy or good set. The sets to me took me out of it because it looked like they're in a cramped little room. Just, that's like part of it. It is my old movie, the acting thing. Yeah. My favorite person in the whole movie was that woman playing his cleaning Mrs. person. Dilber. She was great. She seemed real and just honest and in the moment where everybody, now he was good. I'm not saying he wasn't a good Scrooge. He was, I just find all the other stuff, and you're an actor, so you come at it from a completely different perspective. And that's why I like the Guy Pearce. I mean, forget the F-bombs and all that. It's just that was a well-produced, well thought out version of this, of A Christmas Carol. Anyway, enough about me. I want to hear what other people have to say about John's film. Anybody?
Well, you should call somebody out.
We were waiting for you to say who would like to go next.
Okay, Wojo.
It
Wojo,
is
you're
your
up.
podcast.
Wojo, you're up.
Well, I like the Muppet version too, so I don't know.
I like the Muppet version with Michael Caine.
Yeah. One of the things that I've missed before this viewing of it, and I've seen this thing a lot over the years, when Scrooge is walking down the street and there's a blind man with his dog, the dog sees Scrooge and pulls the blind man like away into the doorway. It's hilarious. I don't know how they got a dog to do that back then. I didn't know, that they had animal performers as much. But I just like this one. I like it because of Alastair Sim. I mean, I think he just seems perfect in this role to me. And I think that part of it, I agree with what John said, that it doesn't seem like he does a complete 180, because you get to see how kind he was in the very beginning and how loving with his fiance, and how, he was just a good person, and he got caught up in money, honestly. But what I liked about how he portrayed Scrooge after Scrooge has, had his epiphany, for lack of a better word, is he's giddy. He's absolutely giddy, much like a kid, and that's why, of course, his housekeeper thinks he's gone completely out of his mind, because he's like, oh, you didn't steal the curtains. You didn't steal the curtains. And she's like, what? And it goes chasing after her. I think she thinks he's going to kill her or something. I don't know. But how much am I paying you? 2 shillings a week, sir. He's like, 10 a week now.
But the look he gave before he said 10, that's all I'm giving you is 2? It's raised to 10. I mean, that's just little things.
I remember seeing this as a kid, liked it as a child.
This version you saw?
Yeah. And I don't know. Drew, since Wojo just talked about It's a Wonderful Life and this one in context, I think you just saw It's a Wonderful Life for the first time this week. I may be wrong about that. I think you did.
Yes, I just saw It's a Wonderful Life for the first time this week, and I just saw A Christmas Carol 1951 for the first time this week.
Wow.
So your perspective.
They're both fine films. They're both fine films. The It's a Wonderful Life is a much better movie for me. Mm-hmm. I have thoughts about A Christmas Carol that are positive, and I'll share those shortly. But the idea of someone who is consciously bad their whole life, and then at the end of their life, they find out, I'm going to get in trouble, and they get scared. And then they're like, wait, I should repent. That's not as compelling to me as what happens in It's a Wonderful Life, where there's a guy who doesn't really understand how much good he has done. And so at the end of that movie, when the whole town shows up and says, no, you've made a difference, I don't need the supernatural part. That's sort of the part that doesn't connect with me the most. But that was beautiful. That was genuinely moving. I wasn't surprised to learn that movie is Jimmy Stewart and Frank Capra's favorite movie that they've done together. I also, when I watched it, I said, well, this is not really a Christmas movie. I mean, it takes place at Christmas like Die Hard. Mm-hmm. And then I found out what happened was that the movie ran out of copyright and anybody could show it. Right. So that started a whole world of colorizing it. I watched it in black and white. I learned that Jimmy Stewart actually told Congress how bad it was, that it was colorized.
I saw the colorized version once, and I couldn't watch the whole thing. It was awful.
Yeah, Capra's deathbed wish was to not do that to movies, please. But I guess at the end of the day, I liked A Christmas Carol, but I connected more with It's a Beautiful Life. I'm glad that I saw both of them. I said last week I'd only seen one version of Christmas Carol, which was Scrooged. That's not actually true. I remembered, and I was going to watch it again today when I remember, but I didn't get a chance to. I don't know if you guys have watched the new Doctor Who series.
Yeah.
It's been on since 2005. They do a Christmas special every year, and in 2010 they did A Christmas Carol story with Michael Gambon as the Dickens character. He's the guy, if you know, he's Dumbledore after Richard Harris died in all the Harry Potter movies. He's a wonderful actor. And that I loved because he was, as you see in A Christmas Carol that we watched for this episode, he was a guy who did bad things because he made decisions based on what happened in his life. Like the Scrooge, as John said, the Scrooge in this movie, he does very bad things. He's very selfish, all this other stuff, but he's not just a monster. There is some humanity in there. Now that said, the big vibe that I got from is it Alastair Sim or Sims?
Yeah, Alastair Sim.
And I'm not saying like movies are what they are. I can't say I want this movie to be something that it isn't. But that actor gave me a really serious Klaus Kinski vibe, and I would love to see A Christmas Carol with Klaus Kinski and the googly face. Yeah. And then I realized that Marley kind of looks like Alan Rickman. I was like, oh, Klaus Kinski and Alan Rickman doing Scrooge.
That I'd watch.
We won't get that version. Right, exactly. We'll never get that version.
No, we won't.
But like what I was really saying about the two movies that I saw. I mean, there's this external redemption of conscious, persistent evil because you're going to get in trouble. It didn't resonate with me the way that the inverse of that did, which is George Bailey's story. But I think they're both excellent movies. And, that's what I was going to say. The reason that it's a Christmas movie is not because it takes place at Christmas, but because after it went out of copyright in the 70s, networks were showing big holiday specials, and your local PBS station would show that movie because it was free. And so everybody grew up watching that movie at Christmas. So it is absolutely a Christmas movie, but I didn't know that that was the story of that movie or that it had been subject to so much, mutilation and all that kind of stuff. So I saw it in black and white on Amazon Prime and it looked great. And it was a nice movie. So,
both of these movies did okay at the box office, just okay.
Mm-hmm. Right.
It's when PBS started running both of these movies that they became this cult thing for Christmas. Because this was not a well-known, like Christmas Carol, this version was not well-known in the States till it started running on PBS. And then people started comparing it to all the other ones. And that's when they got,
when they do that, who makes the money at that point? Who PBS?
Well, I think once it goes out of copyright, I don't think anybody makes any money off it.
So
anybody can show it and do anything they want with it.
Now on the Jimmy Stewart movie, they managed to win the copyright back because the music was still in copyright. So
that's right.
Resecured the music.
So NBC owns the rights and can show it twice a year now.
Oh wow!
Where it used to run all the time. But I mean, everyone's got it on DVD too. So
now, Drew, something happened for you to watch that film. Can you explain what deal you made to watch that film?
So John was nice enough. John, as were a number of people on this podcast, were like quite shocked that I hadn't seen It's a Wonderful Life. And I explained that I didn't resist seeing it. I just had never seen it. And it was something that was out there in the world, but it had never become a priority to see. And so I made it a priority to see because I made a deal with John. I said, you know what? I'll take your movie recommendation and I will watch It's a Wonderful Life. In exchange, you will watch a movie that Kelly and I recommend. I said John needs to watch the movie, but Kelly said we're going to need a video of his reaction to it. And I told John, I said, you can watch this after the holidays because it is not a holiday movie. So after the holidays, he is going to record himself watching
I'm going to do a reactionary video.
Yes, we'll do a reaction video for this movie called The Perfection.
Yes.
Which is about, let's say it's about the high-stress world of being a classical musician.
Yeah. Yes, I read the synopsis of the story, and it gave me nothing. So I am dying to watch this now.
It's definitely a movie you should discover on your own. I have seen a lot of movies, and this was one of those movies where more than once I was genuinely shocked. And not shocked like, oh, that's gross. Just, whoa, we are going there?
Yeah.
This is what's happening.
It's surprisingly.
It's
yeah.
Cool.
And it's
Yeah,
called
it's
The
surprising.
Perfection.
I liked
The
it so much.
Perfection.
I watched
The
it. And I had
Perfection.
friends over
It's
to
really
watch it
good.
again, so.
It's really good, and I
I
can't wait to
traded.
see.
I traded It's a Wonderful Life for The Perfection. Which I think everyone will enjoy that.
That's a good deal.
Drew,
Excellent.
just as a suggestion, now that you've seen It's a Wonderful Life, go on YouTube. It's probably there, or it's
Okay.
on NBC.com. You have to watch the Saturday Night Live
Oh yeah,
version
Oh, okay.
with Dana Carvey.
with Dana Carvey. Yes.
Let's
Okay.
get Potter.
Check
Let's
that
get Potter. It's great. That is great. You're right. That is an
I don't
excellent
do
one.
very many impressions, but I do Jimmy Stewart from that movie. You ready?
Go.
Do it.
Mary, don't you know me?
I thought
tell you.
that's Jimmy Stewart. Okay.
I also like they did a version in the show Married with Children.
Oh yeah.
You get to see his,
right.
and everybody's life. He wanted to kill himself, but then he saw how everybody's life would have been better if he was.
Yeah, Sam Kinison was the angel, wasn't he?
Yeah, Sam Kinison was the angel. So out of spite, he decided to keep going. You know, so well, I'll
Okay.
tell you.
Okay. Yeah.
About
What do you
this
guys
film.
think?
Well, first, Drew, one thing I want to say about, you know, you do think, and I know you're Jewish. I don't think you've mentioned that during the podcast.
Never.
Never. But
Oh,
I
just in
remember
case you
doing
were
this
wondering,
commercial.
I'm Jewish.
Yeah. Okay. And you just, you know, if you grow up in the, you know, in the Christian background or just normal cultural background, Christmas
Normal?
is so, you know, completely everything. And we were doing these radio commercials where we needed actors to sing Christmas carols. And we were
Okay.
testing them 5 at a time. And it's amazing. Sometimes it's like they, you know, the Jewish actors, they wouldn't know the most fundamental Christmas carols. And the writer was like, you just never heard this? You never heard it at all. You know, it's like, but I was really kind of shocked that it's sort of like Jingle Bells. How does that go? You know, it's like, you didn't watch them, you know.
Well, it makes another point.
Well, if you want, we can do a special bonus episode where we all learn Hanukkah songs.
I would be happy to do that.
That'd be great.
And we
I
can
think
all
Adam
enjoy that
Sandler
together.
taught me all of them I needed to hear.
But one thing I loved about what you said was seeing the difference between It's a Wonderful Life and Christmas Carol. But the thing about Scrooge Christmas Carol is that there's a lot of heart, and he wasn't an evil person. Scrooge was not.
Right. In this version, absolutely. I agree.
Well, Charles Dickens, you know, he
He
wrote-
was an evil person.
No, Charles Dickens was a hurt person, you know, hurt people, you know, but my favorite part of the film is when there's 3 scenes I wanted to talk about. The first one is when Marley is freaking out with his chains. He goes, "Ah!" Like that was so funny. Every time I see that now, as I've seen this film so many times every Christmas, it's just, I crack up because he's so over the top, Ralph.
Yeah.
You know, you always talk about overacting, but this was just like, so, you know, if you remember, old people aren't supposed to be like that crazy. So he was like all over the place.
All the movies had some kind of bandage he had around his face
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah,
Well,
they used to do that to hold the jaw shut
Yeah.
when he died.
Oh, okay.
Ah,
Nice.
horrible.
That's the way it was.
Okay. What was scene number 2? Scene number
Now
2.
what they do is they wire your teeth so that your jaw won't come open.
Right.
I don't
Okay.
know. Nobody's
Okay.
trying to watch it.
No, I know what they do.
I don't know. They need that anymore because it's only for show, and there's only the worms that are getting in.
Okay. Okay.
That's true.
Just in case anyone was wondering.
Debbie, you
Jewish
never lie
people
about
don't
anything.
do that.
No, that's the way it is.
I'm
That's
sorry,
the-
Drew. What'd you say?
I said, just in case anyone was wondering, Jewish people don't do that for our death rituals. Just to let
Yeah.
you know.
Okay. What's the second
And the
scene?
second one, the second favorite scene is when not the opening scene. I'm sorry, is what Wojo was talking about, where he's giddy in that scene. And I swear, in that scene, if you ever rewatch it, you'll see moves that Mick Jagger stole from Alastair.
The moves
Well,
like
rewatch
Jagger.
it. Watch it, and you'll see he's going like that. You know how Mick, when he's singing, he's really nervous. He's and I think that that part, just the depth of his conversion, his conversion from being, not seeing it, not being there. And the third favorite scene is kind of personal with my uncle, who I revered. My uncle, he was just so he was just wonderful to me, but he was sort of like a person that got in trouble with the family a lot because he was very vocal about his feelings. And when he goes to his nephew's
Fred's house,
his nephew's party, his Christmas party, and he says, "I guess I was an idiot," like that. So sweetly and so kindly, just to admit it. And my uncle did that to the family at one Christmas time. And I was there, and everybody was like, and my uncle said, "Can you guys forgive me for being a complete ass?" And wow. Oh my gosh, that endeared you. I mean, if I loved him, he's passed away. He's been gone a while, but that scene just says it all. That subtlety that Drew would be talking about, but that just nice sweetness. It's just, that film touches so many parts of the human heart. And I love Charles Dickens. I've read him before I saw any movie.
Guest who's joining me this evening. Oh, where is it?
Well, is it Tiny Tim? Is it Tiny Tim? Hey, it's Tiny Tim. Hey,
it's
nice
the ghost
sweater.
of Christmas present.
Very nice.
I've never seen his like before.
Oh, nice get up, John.
Thank you very much. My battery died, so it's not lit up anymore. So, Brad, what'd you think of the movie?
Oh, I don't get to say, man.
No.
Oh, I thought you said something. Go ahead, Sean.
You know what? I'm just going to put this up. You guys keep talking. All right, go ahead.
No, I don't have much to say about this version because I think I did a good job of adequately defending this version last week. Now, I will say, I am a reader, but I have never read Christmas Carol because I feel that I've seen so many movie versions of it but it seems in this version they do something that doesn't show up in the other ones, is that he sees where his ex-girlfriend was, helping out the poor. Mm-hmm. And wasn't that just begging for a scene where he's like over with Fred? He goes, "Hey, I love being here, but I got someone to check out."
Exactly. I wish that had happened too, but
in
the book?
No, in the book, she's married, and he visits her at her home where she's happy with a family.
But at least he visits her. That would have been satisfying in and of itself. That, Drew, would have been his punishment for being such a jerk.
Well, it was. I mean, that's what he said to her. How could you, that sweet creature? How could you do that to that sweet creature? And you could see the look on his face,
Yeah. So,
but it was an ass.
Well, Sean, didn't you say in the version you watched the original?
Reginald Owen.
They didn't really even touch on that very much, right?
No, the angel just said, and we could stay longer and show how you lost the love of your life because of your greed, but we're going to move on. That's literally like all it said. And another thing about Reginald Owen version is he was so easily convinced after like the first angel. It seemed like the other ones were kind of perfunctory. You know what I mean? It's like, "Hey, I'm sold. No need to continue." You know. So
and Alastair Sim kept saying, "I'm too old. I'm too old. I can't change."
Yeah, he does. That's a good objection.
Yeah,
that is a good objection.
All right, before we move on, I want to hear Brad's take.
Yeah,
this was a piece of crap.
Nice.
No, I'm kidding.
I'm glad I came back.
No, I did enjoy it. I mean, I've seen it before. As Michelle had mentioned, we've seen it. We went to the Senator and saw it with It's a Wonderful Life, and it's it's a classic. I mean, what's not to love about it? I mean, it's it's a classic story. You always love to see the mean old guy turn good and become a good want to do good for everybody. But I mean, and Alastair Sim, I mean, he was amazing in it. I mean, And I see what you mean, John. You know, you kind of touched last week that he was not, a caricature. He was he played it more, more serious, and he did, and he was, very, very good at being, Scrooge. And
there was the Disney version with Scrooge McDuck.
Yeah, who was supposed to look like Reginald Owen with the little puff of hair on top. So,
I mean, you guys look back at these and they're nostalgic for you, and that's why because I tried. I really tried. I said, I have to be open about this. And then the first tumbling clock or whatever the what do you call
Hourglass.
The hourglass. I just and the sets they didn't look dirty. They just looked small and looked like I was in a studio. And I know I do this every time, but I tried. And then I go and I watch the Guy Pearce one and forget the F-bombs. I didn't care that they dropped F-bombs. It just looked real to me. It looked like it took place in the real world.
Well,
and not on a TV studio. And that's the whole thing with, I try and I try and I try, and I just can't get past that. Now, It's a Wonderful Life. Drew's right. I mean, I cry at the end of It's a Wonderful Life every time I see it. That film still gets to me. This one.
So you had no feeling at the end when he was joyful?
No,
Nothing.
because listen, Bill Murray did the same thing at the end of his. I thought he did a great job doing the same thing. Guy Pearce, the way he flipped, completely different. How they handle it, I got more choked up watching him do that.
You hate backstory. And they spent the first hour doing Marley's backstory, which doesn't exist in the book.
In this case, I enjoyed seing the backstory.
You like that hour backstory of Marley.
I'm telling you, I enjoyed the 2.5-hour film or whatever.
Oh, did you like it when he yanked his jaw off his body and he had to pick it up off the floor?
Yep.
Did you like that?
I did. I liked
Tiny Tim. That was good. That was a
Tiny
classic.
Tim.
Don't give away all the good parts. We can't wait
Tiny
to see
Tim
it.
was played by a legit Tiny Tim actor.
I thought I did like that. But
no, they flipped the Cratchit's wife has a whole.
Oh, is that who that was?
What's her name?
Yeah.
Ratchet.
Okay.
No, Nurse Ratchet. That's another
Ratchet.
holiday film.
Nurse Ratchet.
They're very different people.
I'm literally not trying to be contrarian. I just didn't.
No.
The film.
The problem is old movies, for one thing. You've already got a hurdle just because it's an old movie.
100%.
That's
I'm
true.
out.
Black and white.
Yeah, and I get that. But let me just say,
Black
I
and
want
white
to
doesn't
mention
bother
two
me.
things. Did you notice Patrick
Or that
McNee?
black and white bothers you.
Patrick McNee played the young Marley. Patrick McNee from the Avengers. Yeah. And George Cole, who played young Scrooge, actually became a big star on the BBC in some situation comedies. So he ended up having a pretty lengthy career. And the other thing I want you to do next time you watch it, the scene at the end where he has an epiphany, he's looking in the mirror. If you look in the reflection in the mirror, there's a grip in the mirror who then covers himself with a blanket. So you can actually see the guy in the shot. They didn't catch it when they put the film out. So next time you see it. And also, listen, even the way he played the scene in the window, which is every movie does it, but the way he played it, like what a remarkable boy. The way he delivered the lines sounded more real than you hear in what a wonderful boy, a remarkable boy. That's how most people play it. He didn't play it that
You know
way.
what was different about this version too? A lot of times at that window scene, Scrooge will say, "Hello there, boy. What day is it?"
Right.
You know, and I thought, "You moron! You know it's Christmas."
Here's what
Exactly. Well, the other thing the kid says when he says, "Get me the turkey." In the book, the kid says wanker, which is a curse word in London. All the other movies change it to something else. This movie, he said it. He goes, "No, I'm in earnest. I'm in earnest." So,
Hey, Ralph, I have a suggestion for you. Have you read A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens?
I don't read that much. I'm sorry.
yeah, I was going to say, Ralph's not a reader.
Look,
Does it have a centerfold?
Here's what I'm gonna do. As soon as Marley screams, I'm gonna start Stairway to Heaven, and I'm gonna see how all the stuff works. Okay, that's what I'm gonna do to make me enjoy this film.
You have to sync it up to Dark Side of the Moon.
Oh, that's what
That's
Dark
it.
Side of the Moon.
Wrong movie.
Hey, Drew, I know you liked It's a Wonderful Life better than this, but at the end, did you? I always get a feeling at the end of that movie, like I said, a chill up my spine. Did you get that in A Christmas Carol, or it just wasn't there? It didn't work for you?
I found it touching, and I give that all to Alastair Sim's performance, because like Potter is an irredeemable villain.
Right.
And even when he has the opportunity, like, I can't find my $8,000, Potter could do something human. And Potter's just like, nah, I think I'll just crush you. And that works for that movie.
George Bailey.
I like that he just remains a villain. Even though in the version of Potterville in the world without George Bailey, I think the movie takes a pretty critical opinion of adult entertainment options. So I can't really support that. But I believed Alastair Sim. I didn't find the method of doing it super compelling, but I believed his performance as a guy who said, boy, I've made some mistakes.
Right.
And I did notice how many times he had to say, I'm not mad, because it was so out of character. But
he was like,
if you want me to say which movie would I watch again anytime soon, it would definitely be It's a Wonderful Life.
Yeah. I mean, if you saw the other versions of A Christmas Carol, then you would appreciate the performance even more, because it's
watch
so
the
different.
Muppet.
What was that?
I was telling you, watch the Muppet version. It's awesome.
Michael Caine, I'll tell you what, Michael Caine is playing with Muppets, and he plays it really straight.
Oh, yeah.
So he's very good. And the Mr. Magoo one I really like, too.
That's why the Doctor Who version, I mean, the Doctor Who Christmas specials, this is what's funny. The Doctor Who Christmas specials, I love that show.
Yeah.
But the Doctor Who Christmas specials often bring me to tears. Like the one where the family is waiting for their father to come back from being a bomber pilot, like just beautiful stuff. And the Christmas Carol version that they do involves like a guy who holds people's bodies frozen as collateral when they owe him money.
Right.
And it has flying sharks and a spaceship falling out of the atmosphere.
And he controls the weather.
Sharknadoes?
And he controls the weather. And it's just spectacular and beautiful. Yeah. So I can see the way that the story works, and I can see why it's been told and retold and retold and retold. And I think if I was going to watch a classic version of the story, I think that you picked the right one for me to see.
One other thing I'm going to say about It's a Wonderful Life, since you brought it up. At the time that was filmed, I think it was it 41? I think it was 41 or 47.
No, it was
in the
war.
40s. The movie code wouldn't allow a criminal to get away with a crime without being punished. So the fact that he got to keep the $8,000 was something that normally would never happen in movies at that time. I just read something about it where they don't know how they got away with it, because they wanted to film a scene where he got his comeuppance, but they didn't do it because the ending was perfect the way it was.
Yeah,
which it was.
Jimmy Stewart. I did my Jimmy Stewart. It was pretty bad.
She did. It was
Hey, don't you know me?
you guys do the same line? Hey, Potter, we're going to kick your ass, Potter.
Right.
We're going to kick your ass, Potter. You got to see that Saturday Night Live.
All right, do we need to rate this or not? Did we?
Yeah, everybody liked it. We all picked it. So
wait a minute. Yeah. One person may not have liked it.
Yeah, I'm half. Okay, a classic Christmas movie. Great. Okay, whatever. Move on. Next. Okay.
Well, you give it a Yippee-Ki-Yay?
Yeah, Yippee-Ki-Yay.
You slept through it, Ralph. You don't lie.
I dropped the lid a little bit in there. I did drop a little lid. And
I slept through part of Slapshot, and I could still see enough to say it sucked.
Oh, drop lid means your eyelids. I thought you were talking about drugs or something. I didn't know.
That's what I thought he was talking about.
I probably should have. I probably should have. No, that might have helped.
Some drug I've never heard of. I don't know.
No, listen. I'm just gonna say Guy Pearce's version way better. But that's me.
Definitely. If you like David Cronenberg, you'll love this.
Cronenberg's great.
Andy Serkis plays the ghost of Christmas Past.
Right.
Okay.
Andy Serkis from
Gollum.
All
right. All right.
Does he play?
That's all you need to know.
Does he forget every 5 minutes?
Well, I mean, I'm a little. It's funny. You're very dismissive of the Bill Murray version.
Because I don't think it's good.
Okay. Well, that's how I feel about that's how I feel about the 1951 Alastair Sim's version.
Well, obviously you have no clue what you're talking about.
You know what? I'm clearing this palette. I'm bringing the next film.
Let me say what
I have an idea.
Yes.
John,
Here's the thing.
John, if you like David Cronenberg, you're going to love The Perfection.
Oh, God.
It's around the holidays, and we all know Ralph is going to bring a 1971 film that I'm going to hate. So I had an idea about what to do. You haven't even heard it, and you already made the
I'm already going to dismiss it, but go ahead.
No, never mind.
No, it's
Michelle, share it with us.
It's holiday time. I'm going to be kind. Go ahead.
I had an idea for the next 2 weeks. I thought maybe we could watch Ralph's Choice from the Roulette, which was A Christmas Vacation. Okay, if you wanted, unless you don't.
I don't want pity views, but go ahead.
Oh, no. I thought this because here's what I thought. Next week we could watch A Christmas Vacation because it's funny and
it's the week of Christmas.
And it's the week of Christmas. And the week after, Debbie, we could all watch When Harry Met Sally, and we could argue about why we think it's a holiday movie because it ends at New Year's. And
Why don't we just watch Bride of Frankenstein?
Now, does that count as my turn?
No.
Okay.
No. In January, we restart.
I think
I actually got a good ride.
Something that's going to bring me down.
No, I don't think this one is.
I think it's going to be a comedy, right, Ralph? It'll be a comedy.
Let me. Okay, here's what I'll do. Here's all I'll do. I'll throw it out at the group, and you guys can decide. If you don't like it, we'll do Christmas Vacation. Okay? Stand by.
No.
Quintessential 1970 film called, starring George Segal, Henry Fonda, and a very young Helen Hunt. Anybody? Roller Coaster. In Sense-Around.
Ooh. Do you have the Sense-Around version?
I'll just bang on the table. It's the same thing. Also, not Dern. Who's the who was in Paper Chase? The young guy.
John Houseman.
No, the young
guy.
Also in the black and
Timothy
white.
Bottoms.
Yes,
Timothy
Timothy Bottoms. One of the Bottoms brothers plays the guy blowing up roller coasters. I don't want to give it away, but yeah, roller coaster.
Blowing up roller coasters.
All right. Nothing
Classic.
says Christmas like blowing up roller coasters.
Okay, so what are we saying? Do you want that or you want Christmas Vacation?
Well, I don't know, because then that would give you 2 picks within a 3-week period, and I don't feel good about that because I think we're coming up on my turn eventually.
Come on.
All right, so the descent it is. Is that what we agree?
All right, look. You know what? Let's do Christmas Vacation. I'll hold roller coaster for down the road. Okay, I won't. That'll be my turn. I'll use Christmas Vacation.
Wait a minute. No, I don't think you should necessarily.
You don't have to use your turn.
You don't have to use your turn.
That's okay.
Yeah.
But you have to watch it in black and white. It's the only thing I ask.
What, Christmas Vacation?
That's right. No, Christmas Vacation. Okay, that's it. Enough said.
Is there a Steven Soderbergh version?
In black and white.
Ralph, did Soderbergh do a black and white version?
He's going to because it's shot very well. All right, so next week we'll do a Christmas Vacation. That's not a pity pick.
Well, it kind of is.
Okay, I just want to be clear on
I
that.
would be the last person to give you a pity pick.
But I'm not sure we're going to do When Harry Met Sally afterwards.
Yes,
but,
we are.
Okay.
Yes, we are.
Well, okay, you know what?
It's got to get by the
I'm
in the
leaving
red
now.
production boardroom.
It's Wojo's show now. Go ahead, Wojo.
Oh my God. Here we go.
I hope this movie brought you guys a little bit of joy like it brings
So
me.
glad we had this
I
time.
know it
God
didn't bring-
bless us, everyone.
Ralph, I think you can get visited by 3 spirits tonight, and they're going to beat the crap out of you.
I hope so. I hope so.
They're all going to be in black and white and overact.
Oh, I hope so. All right.
Sean, I must say this in the final nail in the coffin. So Sean had written a Christmas Carol movie.
Oh.
Yeah, one of my films I did for Pureflix is a ripoff of Christmas Carol too. But I'm not recommending. Nobody,
Well,
we their thing is the only way they could sell it to investors. I'm not saying it's a bad movie. Is the only way they could sell it to investors is it's just like it didn't matter what movie they made. Everything is just like another movie.
and that's
It's like a Christmas Carol meets Clue.
That's
Now
exactly
that's a
it.
film I could get behind.
Who would the angels come to? The detectives, Clute, or Bree Daniels? See, that's what
Boogie
makes
Nights.
this an interesting thing.
Well, basically, Donald Sutherland was Marley. He's walking around moaning that whole movie. So, with this big dour, he was Marley.
Personality.
You know what? It's funny, Ralph. When Debbie and I watched it, when Marley does that scream, we said Ralph is out of the movie.
Yeah.
No, that
hard. Oh my gosh, that craziness.
I
Ralph,
like
have you watched Ralph? Have you watched The Searchers yet? You said you were transferring it over.
Ralph, what were you going to say? You were going to say something. What?
I was going to say the ghost scene, Marley scene, I thought was pretty good. I liked the whole banging of the thing and his screaming. That scream was disconcerting.
Yeah.
But like I said, my favorite character was his house lady, who in that scene where he sees them after they've pillaged his house when he died in the future.
They're selling everything.
Right. And I thought she was really good. Now, what else?
By the way, they
Alastair
never that first scene they never did together. They were never in the same room.
What other films has Alastair Sims done that I would know?
You only need
he played Inspector something. He wasn't well known to American audiences.
Okay.
It wasn't Inspector Gadget.
Just curious.
Was it Inspector Clute?
Okay.
Clouseau.
Exactly.
Clouseau.
Bye, Brad. Thanks for joining us.
Okay. All right, guys. Look, have a great week. Thanks for that, John. Nice job. You really defended
I'm sorry,
that well.
Ralph, you didn't enjoy it like the rest of us. I really am.
You knew I wasn't.
No, I thought maybe something could touch that icy heart of yours.
Oh, this is interesting. In 1971, Alastair Sim provided the voice for A Christmas Carol
And Marley.
tune.
And the guy who played Marley.
John told us last week that won the Oscar.
It won an Academy Award.
Right.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
And it's only 30 minutes long.
Right.
Wojo's the ghost of podcast cast, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah. Wojo, you ought to listen to our podcast. You know what I'm saying?
Sure, I swear to God, that joke is going to work one of these times. I mean it. That's
I'm going to do it again next episode.
Yeah,
I'm going to do it.
I'm sorry. Oh my God.
All right. Well, we're gonna do Christmas Vacation, so we're not going to wish everyone a Merry Christmas. Yeah, we'll do that
right,
next
because it'll be next week.
Yeah.
So we still have that week.
And happy Hanukkah, Drew.
Or happy holidays.
And
That's
Hanukkah.
correct.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, everybody enjoy Christmas vacation. I know you will. And, we'll see you next week.
Ralph, thanks. Great job on the show tonight. Seriously.
Yeah.
As always.
Thank you. Yeah. It's beautiful.
Thanks for watching, everybody.
Beautiful.
Thanks for listening.
Maybe I'll have a change of heart after the Ghost see me tonight.
I seriously doubt it.
Okay.